And welcome, Call of Duty fans. We are here, and we are live with the Corporate Esports Association's Call of Duty Finals. I'm FBI Tugboat here with my man Kamaka. Kyle, how are we doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm very excited to see the Corporate Esports Association Finals. For those of you guys that aren't too familiar, this is a place where players from companies who are interested in esports come to play for charities. We've got two teams right now in the finals. It is IBM versus Microsoft. Microsoft representing St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and IBM representing the ALS Society.
Yes. These two teams have already picked which organization, which charitable organization their respective like prize winnings will go. Speaking of prizing, right? Speaking of prizing, that's $1,200 going on to the first place winner's charity of choice, with 600 going on into the second. So yeah, again, that's ALS, the foundation studying Lou Gehrig's disease, and St. Jude's, the Children's Hospital, coming on in for our two charities of choices. Some couple fantastic organizations all the way through, all the way through. Big shout out here to our sponsor Red Bull as well, helping keep the lights on, make sure that this broadcast happens, as well as our producer, First Night of Knee. Really appreciate it. We're just two guys screaming about Call of Duty in our rooms without our production staff, so we appreciate it, Kyle.
Yes. And so, getting into things. We've got maps already, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be starting things off on Bocage and then 3 rounds of Tuscan, ending things off on Berlin. So, we're at least guaranteed 2 Tuscans and a Bocage. And so, I haven't gotten to see a whole lot of either of these teams just yet, Tug, but from what I can tell, IBM is looking pretty dang indomitable with an 8-0 record.
Yes, the clean sweep through that regular season as well. Taking a look ever so briefly at this bracket, kind of looking at like how we got here, right? IBM came through here, clean sweeps all the way through. They get about by round one, take down Team Aim D 3-0 in those quarterfinals. Excuse me. Microsoft Green taking down 3-0 fashion in the semifinals. So perhaps that's we have the Microsoft Red squad coming on in here, so perhaps that's a little bit bad blood, right? They took out the brother team here, the sister team, whatever you want to call it, also working with Microsoft. So
Yeah, some corporate brotherhood, and they're going to be looking to get some vengeance for their, I'm sure, their fallen brethren and sisters over at the
is it
other
a
team.
Hitman reference, Kyle? Was it a Hitman
What?
reference? The
Oh,
Hitman series is a Hitman reference because you had like three of the names in there, right?
I think you mean
Fun
Assassin's
stuff.
Creed.
Ah,
Yeah,
man, I
Assassin's
always
Creed
do that.
Brotherhood.
Actually, you're
Yeah,
right. Brotherhood.
that's all
Yep.
good
Good
though.
stuff. Oh well. Oh well. Looking at these two squads, yes, a clean 8-0 run here for IBM Esports, and 7-1 for the Microsoft Red squad. Logic would follow, right? That Microsoft Red only lost one, or has only lost one, and probably has only lost this to this IBM squad.
Yeah, and I do believe we're going to be getting going here pretty soon, ladies and gentlemen. And so, yes. And by the way, teams are on the wrong sides just for everyone's knowledge,
Love
but
God, love
we're
COD,
going to
love COD, love COD, right?
love God, love COD. But we're going to be getting in here now to see if Microsoft can get a revelation, another Assassin's Creed reference, on how they can beat
Ayo.
IBM.
I'm with it. I'm with it. Yeah, so Red, Sis, Poison, and Afro Ninja Sensei, probably henceforth referred to as Afro. It's a bit of a mouthful there for the Microsoft Red player on the right. IBM, Llewellyn, Straight Monkey, Idea, and that's Kevin. That's Kevin. That's what those symbols mean. At least that's what we're told. They could really mean anything, Kyle.
Yeah, they really could, as far as I know, but we're going to call him Kevin. IBM starting things off pretty good with solid amount of control for both sides of the map, swinging around and hitting Llewellyn, and yeah, again, mid-map control. This is the main thing that you're going to be looking at if you're looking to keep any sort of control over the map on this objective, Tug, is making sure that they don't just run right up here. That's going to be the main method of attack, and Microsoft, they've finally been able to use it.
They have. They have. Looking on the board of Red right now, literal one. A strong breeze could have knocked him down. It was Straight Monkey instead. A limpy 40 action up close and personal. Taking a look on this other side. The good news is this trio of IBM players that spawned up close. Fourth joined them shortly thereafter. Now all the way over this next hill, this next hard point. That's going to be a fantastic setup for this next push.
Yes, it is. Really, at least for the initial, but oh, look at this, Kevin, frying him right in the side, and this is exactly what you don't want if you're IBM. You're still spawning back there as well. So if Cicero doesn't manage to take down Kevin, which he does, that would have been a seriously difficult position for IBM, because you would get locked in your spawn, and you pretty much would not be able to get out of that. You're pretty much at the mercy of Microsoft from this hill until the next.
I think we have our sides correct now. Red on the side of IBM. I believe that's correct. I believe that's correct. Microsoft, red, and the rest of Llewellyn.
Yeah, it
I
is
believe
right.
so.
It is
I'm
right.
looking over at our rosters. Yeah, I believe so. Row and red over on the side of IBM. All gravy, baby. All gravy. A relatively close match it has been here, Kyle. Straight monkey giving him the business up close and personal. Not going to happen twice.
Yeah, Boca is usually a very, close map. Because of how small the map it is, it doesn't, like, when you die, you don't really get punished too hard because you're able to spawn back in and contest the hills a lot more easily than on other maps. And this hill, especially with all the corners, is super duper contestable. So it wouldn't surprise me if we kept it really, really close up until the end, Tug.
Yeah, and especially just given that when you spawn in here, you can so quickly make it to a hard point, given what you were saying. It's a relatively smaller map, hands down the smallest map within the CDL rotation as of right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely it is. And now what could make a huge difference in the scoreline, Tug, is this next hill rotation. Pretty much the one hill that actually matters for you to rotate, aside from just getting the early 10 seconds of the hill. This hill is going to be over by the tower, right where Straight Monkey spawned up at. If they can, manage to not all die, that's a good little kill spree from IBM. Going to make it so that they can travel to the next objective without getting hindered too much. Obviously, you've got ID to deal with, but this is going to be leading to no strong setup being made and the status quo probably staying in place.
Yeah, so, taking on to River for right now, but this scoreline pretty much staying the same. Microsoft red coming on in here against the 8-0 IBM squad. Yet again, IBM has not dropped matches within the regular season. Maps, almost certainly. At least the way this is going out right now. You know, you go through a regular season, you don't drop a map, you'd be expecting more like a 150 to 50 or something like that right now. Getting confirmation here. IBM has dropped map. Only one, though. And that was to Microsoft Red. That was to this squad. Staring down the barrel of another situation like that right now, Cal.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty possible, especially with Microsoft getting a lot of the kills at the end. They're going to extend their lead to about, like, 50-ish, if my caster math is right. Assuming that Red doesn't go in very audaciously for this final push, which he is, but it's not going to really be too overly much. And now with that push, that gives a little bit of room for Microsoft Red to make a little bit of chaos in the middle. You've got Idea all the way up inside of the barn, but unfortunately he's going to be getting spotted by Afro Ninja Sensei before he can really do too much. IBM, this is a really interesting situation that we find them in. You don't usually try and get too much control over this area here, Tug, but if you're able to sustain a massive amount of kills up against Microsoft Red, you might just be able to get a lot of time off this hill. Not a lot of teams are able to do it, but IBM, if there's any team in this league, it's them that can do it.
Absolutely. Speaking of Red, that's Red going on a triple kill, spilling blood left, right, and center. And now that's IBM taking over a little bit of time right here. This was, like you said, a lion's share going on in for the side of Microsoft Red. And then we finally see a little more automaton action. Generally, Kyle, I feel like we see at least a trio MP40 players in this map.
Yeah, it has been a little bit more in the favor of the automaton, especially since it got a little bit of a buff. You can see now it's up to 30 bullets, and so yeah, it's a lot more favorable now, especially in Search and Destroy. It used to be the case that we would see a lot of MP40s, but now we're seeing a lot of automatons just because there are a lot of long-range angles as well, Tug.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You take it to the top, as we've seen players do before. You really can control a lot of this map up from basically where we see Llewellyn right now. Pushing on into this one. Another couple seconds on top. Members of IBM spawning out a little bit farther away. But this is Bocage, and this is not going to be anybody not touching hardpoint for a long time. I mean, you can fall over, you can trip and stumble and hit a hard point, and at least contest it out for a few seconds on this map.
Yeah, there's no such thing as far away on Bocage, as we do know, Tug. But Yeah, IBM,
Yeah.
they are going to be getting this rotation good. That's a great kill from Afro Ninja Sensei onto Straight Monkey. That's going to flip the spawns in their favor, while Microsoft Red are still fighting at the previous objective for 5 seconds. They do have a few players coming up the middle of the map, but that will give IBM a little bit of an advantage up in the immediate. Unless Llewellyn can get some solid kills here, instantly trade it out, but he's still laying the groundwork for Microsoft to be able to break in here in a not as well setup, I guess you could say, from IBM.
130 to 150 right here. Like you were saying, the setup right here is going to be everything after a 10-point run. And then again, that simply just doesn't happen
Llewellyn.
that often. Yeah, Llewellyn just spraying and praying, right? Sometimes that'll turn around and bite you.
Teammate.
Yeah, exactly. That's not ideal situations. Not ideal situations. Taking a look at the numbers ever so briefly. It might mean Kevin, it might mean something else. What it means to us is those numbers next to it, right? 27-18, fantastic situations for the big slayer here, Kevin, inside of Microsoft Red. 32 and 24 for Red on the IBM side, though, after we see a pair of kills going in the kill feed for him. And another fantastic situations. The numerical standouts here for these two squads.
Yeah, what IBM is trying to do right now, Tug, is as soon as they get a kill on the Microsoft Red players, they instantly go and try to find the others to get the full team wipes. This puts Microsoft Red in a perpetual state of being 3v4 and respawning and being just more or less unable to push the objective effectively. And this, if IBM is able to keep this up, could lead them to getting the first major lead of this entire game. Although Microsoft, they seem to have recovered pretty well. I guess the one good thing about getting full team wiped in that situation is that they're not getting split off from each other as much, Doug.
Yeah. Eventually you come in with 4 here, Kyle. As it is, though, that's going to be looking like the lead trumped out by IBM. No, not going so quietly into the night. Red with a pistol in hand, but now we do have a lead change at 165, people. 10 seconds right here, and paying attention to the next hard point is going to be paramount, but it's also going to be relatively easy when you're just not that far away.
Well, that was a risky move from Idea. Going in that late, they could have gotten really punished on the counterattack, but the fact that he was able to get those 2 kills, that's one of those moves where we criticize him if it doesn't work, but we praise them to the heavens if it works. Yes. And so that allows Microsoft Red to get some great control over the middle of the map. And again, this is one of the only hills on the map where you can really consider rotating for it being a massive benefit. You got Microsoft Red with control over the middle of the map. It's going to be very difficult for anyone like Cicero to get up here and try and take some shots on the objective without getting killed just like that. So Microsoft Red bought a lot of room in order to get a proper setup, and this might be the difference maker, Tug.
That's a full 4 kills. Now Spawn's coming in. Red super far away. Afro Ninja a lot closer, and Poison now spawning with Cicero. Combining for a pair of kills right here is a great way to start this one out, but there's already 45 seconds dusted off of this hard point. I think hands down, this most recent hard point going down the most one-sided that we've seen so far.
Yeah, this might be the dagger that kills IBM in the long run, because Microsoft Red getting over that 200-point margin, they can now win off of breaks on any point remaining, especially considering how close IBM isn't to them anymore. Microsoft Red, they can now put a lot of pressure on the middle of the map, force IBM to take the fights in the middle instead of trying to get set up for the spawns. And if they can play their cards right here, Microsoft Red, they can keep IBM in a state of respawning so that they can get a little bit of map control now. The ball is well and truly in Microsoft's court. They just have to win these gunfights right now.
Yeah, definitely a more easier said than done type situation, especially given the 2 just juggernaut teams we've seen so far. But Microsoft Red, they have taken the progress that they started on the last hard point, and they really have put it together into something beautiful here. 20 seconds going for IBM will put them still behind Microsoft Red, though. It's still a fantastic opportunity to try and tie this up a little bit more. Never mind. There's no such thing as trash, or garbage time at this point, right? Another
yeah, I mean,
10 seconds, and that'll bring them just shy of 230.
Yeah, I agree with you. There is no such thing as garbage time. This is all worth fighting for here, Tug, especially with how small the map is. Kevin getting around the back. This is going to be a huge fight between him and Cicero. Kevin sitting very patiently underneath him, but Poison's onto him. Red sitting on the objective does get taken off, and the spawns are going to be a little bit wonky here, so Afro Ninja Sensei going to get a nice flank to the backs and kill 2. It's a 1v1 between Llewellyn and Cicero once again, And oh, it's just gonna be Nade Central. Either way, when the dust clears, it's gonna be IBM that has control over the objective, slowly but surely climbing their way back into this game. This could still very much be a game in their favor, obviously because it's tied now, but if
Oh,
they're able to get Microsoft Red in a streak of dying here, Tug, they just have to knock this one guy off this objective, and then get a couple more kills and the rotation, they can win this.
yeah, Red and Cicero both spawned super far south on this one so far, and Microsoft Red, because of those 4 spawns out, really forced a different type situation. Now 11 seconds going
Oh,
up against
Cicero!
24, and Cicero going on a flank for the ages right here. Got a lot done down bottom, cut off spawns on the way in, and IBM now almost with a full team wipe. There's a full team wipe.
Oh, and they spawn them out. I don't know if they know that they spawned them out this far. They're not looking the correct direction, Tug. This is might come back to bite them as 8 seconds left. They're going to get full team wipe now just because they didn't realize what they had when they had it. And so with that wipe back in return, Microsoft Red will be sneaking this one away from IBM. IBM.
Yeah, wow. What's the what's the phrase? I wish we knew we were in the good times when we were still there, right? All of
Right.
this entire hard point, right? You put it perfectly there, Kyle. All of this entire hard point goes down to that last set of spawns of Microsoft Red spawning farther closer to the inside right here. And like literally, we just see like a line of red spawn up almost immediately. It kind of harks back to kind of what we were talking about earlier as well, right? Like, it's good to get these full team wipes, but when that happens, you guarantee that a squad is going to be coming back in full force and if the game is doing its job, relatively close nearby to each other, right? All of this comes down to IBM just simply looking east when Microsoft is coming in from the west.
Yeah, I did say that. That is like one of the only silver linings to getting full team wipe, though. If only IBM had just realized that based off that full team wipe and their positioning, they would be spawning their opponents on the opposite side of the map. They thought that they had got them stuck inside of the tank side spawn, which is why they were holding all those angles so aggressively. The guy was hiding behind the tank because he thought that they were going to be coming up and they would be just like a shooting gallery free for him. But instead, they flipped them out because of their tank player's position and they were able to come back up and back rage them again. There's no such thing as too far away on Bocage, Tug, and it just shows
Yep.
as soon as you get wiped, you can get right back into it, man.
Right back into it. Right back into it. I think it was the consistent applied pressure as well from both squads that led to this being as close as it was. But it's just so interesting that again, 8-0 IBM only map they dropped during that regular season. People was to this Microsoft Red squad. Only match that Microsoft Red dropped. Only match, not map. Match that Microsoft Red dropped was to this Indomitable IBM squad. So really, again, just a battle of titans back and forth here. But this first map, 250 to 235, very close. But it does prove indeed that gods can bleed.
Yeah, not only rivals in the computer industry, but also rivals in the Call of Duty scene as well. They played up against each other once, just as Tug said, and it's looking
Mhm.
to be a revenge tour in the making, potentially from Microsoft Red. They take the first map, but obviously, Bocage is a very, very unique map, so I don't know if we can necessarily take what we saw in this Bocage and say, okay, based on this, they're going to do good in the Tuscan as well. So I think that's going to be just one that we say, okay, Microsoft feeling a little bit more of the hot hand. They had the good wherewithal to rotate in the end.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, IBM made a critical error at the end that allowed Microsoft to get back in and take that W. So those are the only things that I'm really taking out of that is that there was a little bit of an error, and there were certain times where the rotations were a little bit better and the setups were better from Microsoft.
Yeah, it was just I think all this kind of came down to just like kind of cleaning up of the edges type situation, right? Whoever was just most clean and presented when the time was most necessary. But if what we're talking about is snap decisions in the instant, right? A single frame or whatever, right? Search and destroy on Tuscan really might push the letter on that one. No, obviously they'll have plenty of time for each search and destroy round to kind of communicate between teams and get those clear comms going and whatnot. But we're guaranteed throughout these search and destroys to come down to those 1v1s, to those 2v2s, to those clutch and pressurized situation where literally every tenth of a second matters.
Yeah, and now we are going into the most played search and destroy map, Tug. Pretty
Also
much,
true.
it's
Tuscan.
Tuscan
Yep.
every
Yep.
So even like most Call of Duty players, fun fact, they get their start in Search and Destroy tournaments. I don't know if that's necessarily the same thing for these players, but I'm sure the Call of Duty players, just like anyone else, they probably got some great experience in Search and Destroy. And this being one of the most well-played maps, I'm sure these teams have their strats down pat. And it appears that Microsoft Red's going to take a little bit of a page out of the Stallions in the Challengers Handbook and go straight for B hard off the rip.
Straight for B. Llewellyn dedicating time to the top, though, with that rock in hand, though. Doesn't matter when you put down 2 on the way. Cicero looking for a little bit more, and then a pool shot on the outside. And just like that, Microsoft Red falls in triple formation. Kevin's going to find one. Might just be a little bit of a consolation prize here. But what we can tell that he cannot is that this is 3 IBM players that are relatively separate from each other. Cicero and Afro Ninja could not get farther away from each other on the map of Tuscan.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. The only player that he could really, in theory, catch out in a 1v1 is Cicero, because the angles for Poison and Afro Ninja definitely play off well to each other, but oh, it looks like he's gonna not see Cicero. Cicero hitting the shots and not realizing in time. Pick quite a direction to slide into. It will be IBM with a very, very bloody first start to the game.
I mean, we say check your corners. Sometimes this is like checking every corner, check every cobweb and dust it, right?
Right.
Not really much of an assumption. The player's gonna be all the way back there, and of course you're on attack, 1v3, playing against time at that point, playing against that clock. IBM coming out strong in a defensive round win. Microsoft Red will be looking to do that same thing against.
Yeah, that's the one painful thing about doing that strategy. You lose control over all the map if it doesn't go well. Straight Monkey looking to come up the middle of the map, and it looks like this push has been stalled out for IBM Red with that kill of Afro Ninja on the middle. Straight Monkey's going to look to take up his spot, but Red with the cash money grenade is going to be getting him right back on out, and that opens up a plethora of options for IBM Red. The spawn is open for Microsoft. They know generally where all the players are at, so they could, in theory, if they want to, just extend through the spawn with all this intel they have on Microsoft.
B being neglected for right now. Red will get information on that if he turns left and turns tail out there, but shots to the middle, and that's that's Idea who's getting caught out right now. The MP40 in hand, but just not a whole lot there as plant does come in. IBM putting themselves a solid round up as the plant does come down.
Yeah, Llewellyn thinking they're going for the rotation, but they were very committed to the fact that they wanted to go A, and IBM are going to be taking out both an attack and a defense.
There you go, stringing those rounds together. That's what the name of the game is here, Kyle.
It really is. And so I was a little bit surprised that they didn't try to go for the rotation. I know that Llewellyn was probably thinking the same thing by the fact that he rotated. He hoofed it all the way back over there, and then when he realized, oh shoot, there's nobody here, he realized they're probably going over and planting over on the Alpha objective. I think he had the nade spot on point from that position, but it was just a little bit too late. The IBM player was able to get out of there just in time.
Yeah, like, the angle true, but the timing incorrect.
Yeah, just about, yeah.
Yeah. Two piece. 1, 2.
Oh my
1,
God.
2, 3. Red on a 3 streak, excuse me. Cicero's the one on a 4 streak. He's gonna play while Tuscan burns.
Yeah, he's on a 3 killing streak, while most of the people on Microsoft Red are on a 3 dying streak. It's unfortunate as it gets. Idea, seeing if he can muster up a victory out of this one. He does see Red, doesn't shoot him though. But, the lane coverage is great from IBM. Look at that, just watching everything possible. You know that your opponents are still on the attack, so their most likely position is still on their spawn. And so Poison, he's just going to keep on looking there, fries Idea, and it's easy as it gets for IBM.
There you go. You know what they say? If you bite it, it is poisonous. If it bites you, then it is venomous. Or what? No, if you bite it and you die,
I've never heard that.
You should say. If it bites you and you die, then it is venomous. Yes, the difference between poison and venom.
I never thought about that.
Oh yes. At what point, Kadir Kyle, I got a question for you. At what point, on an IBM streak right now in Search and Destroy, do we kind of assume that they're just going to be better on this game mode?
When it's 6-0. I've seen teams.
No
I've seen teams do. Yeah, no assumptions from me, dude. I've seen full sales, especially in the CDL. One just happened recently. It was, I think it was Boston Breach just did a complete full sale 5-0, came all the way back 6-5. And so I'm never counting anyone out. Although Cicero, he's making me a little bit concerned, always getting first bloods. for Microsoft. And so against Microsoft, Cicero getting another
Wow.
one that's
Okay.
poison, trying to get the clap back, but it's gonna
Oh.
be him that gets clapped as IBM taking their fourth round in a row.
Well, Cicero with three right there, right?
I
On
think
the
so.
7 streak. My goodness. My goodness. Insane stuff. Just shy of that 700 damage as well. So just shy of the clean, even 100 damage per. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, and now that's going to be putting Cicero onto streaks. That's the worst part here for Microsoft, right? Is because now Microsoft, they pretty much have, if they want to go for this site or literally any site, they pretty much are going to have to go for B because A, it's right out in the middle of the open. B, you didn't have a very successful time with it the last time. But I think IBM, they're sitting a little bit further back. I like this angle from Afro Ninja Sensei. He's going to get all the intel that he needs, telling Cicero that they're about to be
Holy
barreling down towards him,
moly.
and somehow he survives this, even doing a little bit of damage with a stun on the way out. Cheeky. And Idea losing his life once again. So IBM, without even having to drop the bomb, are
Wow.
going to be securing another victory, dude.
Okay, so this is Cicero now with the streak going on into a defensive round. Like on paper, the offensive is where you want to get this one in, right? Like given that they have to go fourth and plant at some point. But they, that just goes so quickly, they don't even get the opportunity to drop it really. Poison on a 4 streak as well. Red joining him. That 4 streak. 9. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for Cicero.
Yeah, I think they're going to be wanting to use their streak here since you brought it up to try and clear off the B objective. Llewellyn's out in the middle of the open. He's got pretty much nowhere to run and hide unless he wants to go inside of the church. Yes, indeed. You're searching for him. They know that they've got a player on the back now as well. They don't manage to get anybody with it, unfortunately for them. And somehow, despite the intel, Kevin is going to be getting a solid kill, gets instantly refragged, but it's all on Straight Monkey. He's got to get the 3 versus 1 successful if they don't want to get 6-0'd.
That was Stray Monkey that saw a couple pixels in the top. Now information on A goes down. He knows where two of them are at.
Does he know poison?
He should know this corner. Wow. Okay. Oh, never mind. There you go. What professional observing. I love it. I couldn't even tell that we'd switch
The transition
we'd
was so
switched
seamless, yeah.
perspectives on the way down there. A lot of different consonants on that one. Poison. Again, maybe proving a little bit more venomous. 6-0 clean run. That is as good as it gets. Not just numerically, but thematically, momentum wise. Everything else right now is going the way of your International Business Machines Corporation side, or International Business Machines. That's what IBM stands for. I was trying to
Ah, fun
make it
fact,
throw it
ladies
in
and
there.
gentlemen. That's
I
what
was trying
IBM
to throw it
stands
in
for.
there.
But
There you go.
yeah, so it's now 1-1, ladies and gentlemen. The first map, in case you guys weren't paying attention or you weren't here, it went the way of Microsoft Red by very slim margins, we'll say. And that was a much more convincing win. So IBM, I would have to say they've got the hot hand right now, Tug. And if man, I told you if they got the 6-0, then I would give it to them the possibility that they're going to win the Berlin, and so I'm going to do that. And therefore, now Microsoft, I think that their best possibility of winning this is taking this next map and then the hard point. Again, Bocage is not a map where you can look at winning, especially by that tiny scoreline, and say we're absolutely going to have an advantage in the rest of the hard points and the respawn modes. But I mean, it's the best chance that they got because that search and destroy, it was just so incredibly good for IBM.
Yeah, it really was. I don't think that this bomb actually went down the whole time, and it didn't go down. Excuse me, on any of Microsoft Red's offenses.
Oh yeah.
Time only got extended by that going down a couple times. That was just all IBM all the time. And this really was them, just playing that entire game from that driver's seat. Everything going the way of IBM in the search and destroy, and it was not by mistake by any means. I would like to think that we're going to get much more close respawn game modes, but like you said, if this goes down to a 2-2 when we go look at a map 5, I'm not going to call it by any means. We'll watch it, we'll commentate it. But
Absolutely.
IBM, they didn't show us anything that would say that Microsoft Red would come forth and win that round. Maybe better than a 6-0. Perhaps like perhaps that's kind of like the back and forth, the wonkiness that happened earlier, and the hard point maybe is just a Microsoft Red game mode, and that's the game mode and map that they lost IBM in the regular season, or that they beat IBM in the regular season. Who knows? Who knows? A lot of different storylines coming in for Tuscan Control.
Yeah, what seemed like to be a major issue for me for Microsoft in that map tug is something that they can take with them into the Berlin as well. Is their opponents, they're pretty much always ready for them. The intel was always on point whenever they tried to go for B, and when they went for A, they got rushed down really hard in the middle of the map. So if you're trying to go for A, you got to be a little bit more adaptive to figuring out what your opponents are trying to do. Like if they're pushing you really hard on these objectives, then you can just, try and wait for them, or you can, sort of predict the angles. But we'll see if they can end up using that advice. Now, we're going to be getting here with Microsoft Red on the attacking side. It is definitely more fun to attack on this map than on Gavudu, but it's still no easy task, Tug.
No, it is not. No, it is not. I do love the map. Do love Tuscan as well. Getting a double dose of it and guaranteed a triple dose of it because, as of right now at least, we are tied up match score wise. First tick of progress over on towards A, going on down. And now that's going to be Kevin investing time and a life right now into number B. Solid damage in the beginning. That's going to be Kevin trying again, but a perfect bait and switch from the outside keeps Red alive. And the progress on B dusted as now this duo of members try and respond back to this A-bomb site.
Yeah, Microsoft's Red saying, you bait and switch players, I bait and switch objectives, we are not the same. Just as they say that, they're going in for A. IBM trying to come right back on in and do something about it. Kevin, he's been a little bit of a standout so far, at least in terms of his ability to make nice flanks and get around on the objectives. A, getting a lot of progress and realizing that there's probably a player barreling down the alleyways towards him now. Straight Monkey's going to be looking to see if he can get the drop on him. Unfortunately for him, he's not. In the meantime, Red making a solid flank through the middle of the map, extending through the A area of Microsoft Red's spawn, because they can know that they can do that because they're just getting so many kills. They got great intel again, IBM. And so it's one of the major things that's killing Microsoft Red is that they're playing very predictably, and IBM is able to capitalize on a lot of the intels and sightlines they're using.
Just like that, though, Red the last alive on this side. As I say that, Cicero doing something amazing from the top, and that's how you cover both control points. Love to see it. Only a tiny bit of progress on the end as Cicero and Red now join the party and quickly get ejected out, quickly get bounced out right there. Poison taking up a two-piece, though. And this is just back and forth. And the thing is that this is disadvantage Microsoft Red at this point, right? They can't really afford to trade out lives-wise on these control points anymore. Now, 4 ticks so far is not bad, but they're gonna have to finish out B to go forth and really put a hot hand at this map.
Yeah, the only Microsoft Red, they do have a lot of ticks, so if they're able to pull one over on IBM in the short term, they might be able to still win this, but it's still very slight. They're at 7 lives. Llewellyn is in a pretty decent position to get some kills, and it allows them to know that they can more or less extend through the top of the map, especially with now control over the church. They're now starting to condense themselves onto IBM. This is looking pretty good for them. That's a huge kill on the bottom of the map that leaves the site more or less free. Red with a big kill, though, in response. Kevin is the only thing they really got going for them. He's on the tank, but, man, the responding IBM players on flower pots are going to be there and ready to take him out. Either way, even though you don't take this win, this is an above-average attacking side for Microsoft Red, Tug. 5 ticks is still well worth it.
Yeah, not bad by any means. Of course, ticks of progress is how we control who gets that advantage big if we go down to that 5th round of control. That change coming in a little while ago now. But Microsoft Red looking solid here. Defense does win, as is tradition, but 5 ticks of progress is not bad at all.
Yeah, the only thing that IBM can really do in order to surpass them is outright win the attack. Or they can get 5 ticks and get a little bit extra kills on them, which I don't think would be a problem for IBM. They've been a little bit more cracked out on the night. You can see 10-4, 9-4, 7-7, 5-5. And on the other side, they are not having as good of a time killing people as IBM. The kills are well and truly in the favor of IBM. And so now, the flank coming out from Straight Monkey is going to be able to make things a little bit more difficult for IBM to hold this. They all have to watch different angles, and because they're all getting pushed out from different angles, but they're able to take down one at a time. One pushes aside from the other, and so IBM's able to quickly shift their attention. That is good problem management from IBM.
Yeah, fantastic performance just to take out Red already. This was looking like our defensive map earlier based on positioning per team, right? 26-23 is this is an IBM squad that has everything they need to go and take down B now. we were kind of talking about in theoreticals, but that full, triple tick take on B seems all but guaranteed at this point. And again, this is an IBM squad that can afford to and has time to go forth and just trade all the way out.
Call of Duty Tug, nothing is ever guaranteed. But is it likely?
Sure.
Absolutely. 1 minute and 30 seconds, and they've got equal lives and better map positioning and control than Microsoft Red. Absolutely, they can do this. And so they put themselves in a better position than Microsoft Red in order to do it, and Microsoft Red was able to get 2 out of 3. So how much more likely is IBM based off of that to get this now? They've gotten control over the spawns, they're flipping them out. Microsoft Red doing the right thing and trying to go through the middle of the map instead of through their spawn, and try and flip the areas of control onto IBM. That's a good reaction to that very difficult position that they were in, Tug. And they might just be able to eradicate them off this objective. It cost them a lot of lives to do it, but at least they still live to fight for potentially another minute.
Yes, well, the life pool is nice. Objectives even better. Pushing into it, a positive KD here, straight monkey for the Microsoft Red squad. The only player who can say they have done that so far in this control. Combining for 2 more on the end. Better than just a little bit of positivo. Looking at IBM though, the worst player on here is 9-9 Afro Ninja Sensei. 14-9, not bad. 17-6. It's not too shabby. It's not too shabby, Kyle.
Not too shabby. Also the fact that Microsoft is slowly but surely getting rid of the time that IBM has left is not too shabby either. Afro Sensei getting 5 kills in a row, also not too shabby. But all this map positioning is great for IBM, but it's only good if you can get the ticks. And even if they outkill their opponents, if they don't win this, they will be down. They are still down 1 tick, Tug. So this is still time of the essence. Afro Ninja Sensei with another huge kill. They are going to be only 3 of them respawning. They're able to get a massive shot onto Afro Ninja, though. With 20 seconds remaining, they can absolutely hold this off. They just got to be very careful. Straight monkey goes down. They got to not lose their lives either. This is a very precarious position, Tug. And oh, Llewellyn, he might be able to get it. Is not able to land adequate enough shots. Hits a good nade, I think, but either way, they are going to be just down to Llewellyn. He's got to basically sacrifice his life, goes in, and dies. So, unable to stop what seems like the inevitable IBM win.
Yeah, so IBM opts to trade, kind of just trade lives for a little while on this one. And it turns out to be the correct choice. That could have very easily gone the other way, though, Kyle. I think you kind of broaching the subject the whole way. Putting this down to 18 seconds or so, I mean, that's Llewellyn decides to just, go Super Saiyan, just absolutely dumb out right there, take out 4, and then play a little bit of time on the other side. That's enough to possibly dusted this one out, and IBM did not want this to go down to even an even 5-tick situation, so.
Yeah, the thing that stinks now, Tug, is for Microsoft Red, they now have to win they have to win a defense and an attack, and they pretty much in a position where they have to win 2 attacks and 1 defense. So Microsoft Red, that is not a position that you want to be in. IBM just did it, so maybe you can do it, but it's still going to be difficult. Either way, it all starts now. A take on B would be beneficial for them. They know that they've got one on the objective, trying to drag them into the light so that Kevin can also take a shot at him. That's good stuff. And now they're IBM notice, only sending 1 player at a time over here. And so I think what they're trying to do is keep more of a control over A for longer, and it's not really working out. They're just doing really good in the 1v1s here, Kevin.
Oh my god, yes he is. Now that's progress onto A, that's progress onto B. Microsoft Red, they might have lost a few gunfights there, but they've purchased with those lives everything that they need.
More or less. They do finally manage to get rid of Idea, but straight monkey. Straight out of the barrel and into the objective. Afro Ninja Sensei looking away at the worst time. This might be it. Straight monkey, all he's got to do is hide and not get shot by poison, which he does. Unfortunate. They're going to be able to clear off this tick, Tug. Still getting progress at A, but if you can get B first, that would be huge. Llewellyn trying to do that now.
Yeah, definitely wanting to get B just to extend this time now out at this point, and that's going to opt for IBM players to actually get out. No, B does not get taken. A perfect time for Afro Ninja Sensei to go forth on this. I didn't even know he had streaks yet, I'll be honest.
Yeah, he's had them for quite a little bit of time. I think he got them on last round. Actually, no, he hasn't had them for a long time. He got them at the end of the last round, but Either way, that is a huge, huge save over on B. So Microsoft Red, they're generally in the same position, but they're up on lives this time. Starting to rise to the occasion, gun skill-wise. And so, yeah, they got plenty of time. They've got a life advantage, so they can still try and work IBM at least a little bit in the life department, Tug.
Red doing some fantastic stuff, and then a bait and switch from Cicero takes out the last one. Meanwhile, other members of IBM do fall, and our life totals stay the same. Obviously, these numbers from Microsoft Red are across our 3 rounds right now. My goodness, Poison, just line them up and set them down like he's playing dominoes.
All right, that was a nice little bit of kills there for Poison. It's not letting anybody get around the back. Cicero getting the information, but doesn't see the second one, and he's going to be losing that key position in the top of the church. Red losing his life now in the middle of the map right after that. After Ninja Sensei, they know exactly where he's at now, but do they react in time? Yes, but not before they lose another player. Double stacking the objective. IBM, they might not get into position in time to stop this, Tug. They do kill one of them off of it, diminishing the time that it takes to capture it. And so now they will eventually get rid of all of the Microsoft Red players. Only 2 left, but, I mean, it's still obviously possible, man. You've got 43 seconds in order to get some kills, but it would have to be an absolute miracle.
And they have to, like, coordinate on this, too. If they push this from 2 different sides right here, especially if Cicero takes down, that's Idea on the other side. And, okay, so Idea wins, but Llewellyn doesn't. So, big kill, yes, but a full team wipe required for IBM, and then they'll still have one for the 1v1 on the end. Dedicating a lot of shots inside. Idea knows it, backs up, down to 28, and is going to play another couple seconds. Now his health coming back, and in the best situation to try and take this one.
Unfortunate for Idea. Doesn't happen, and IBM are able to take this clean sweep 3-0. Going back into the hard point, this was the one round that they did win over on Bocage, but it's a lot different of a map than Tuscan Tug, so I don't know if we can necessarily give them the benefit of winning it like we obviously can for IBM in the Search and Destroy.
Yeah, 3-0 right here, and a full 6-0 wipe on the Search and Destroy as well. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff coming on in here for IBM outside of that first map. And again, the hard point goes down 235 to 250. That's relatively close. That's nothing to write home crying about. Tuscan's just been IBM's map so far here, Kyle.
And we're going to be going back into it one more time for the hard point. I mean, from what we've seen from them, they have been doing pretty decently holistically throughout the night in the gunfight department. But recently, towards the end there, a lot of the Microsoft players were starting to heat up, especially Idea, taking a lot of the 1v1s pretty well at the end. And yeah, there were just a lot of opportunities like that. IBM, they were so close, especially with Kevin almost getting control over B. But the major thing, I really am going to stick to this, the major thing that made them not win that was not the fact that they couldn't pull it through at the end. It was the fact that Afro Ninja Sensei got streaks and was able to stop him with literally like a millisecond left of time before B gets taken. If that B gets taken, then we're still playing that map.
Yeah, I mean, that happened on B, and then A got taken like 5-10 seconds later or something like that. But going into map number 4 right now, it is on Tuscan. We're going to take a very short break, let these players get a little bit of time, kind of communicate between each other and figure out what they want to do going into our possible last map here for the CEA Call of Duty Finals. Back with you guys in just a minute. Hello and welcome back to the Corporate Esport Association's competition here. We got IBM 8-0 in the regular season taking on Microsoft Red Squad. They were 7-1 regular season, only lost to this IBM squad. And as of right now, Kyle, looking at a 2-1 scoreline. Now that hardpoint was decently close. Been kind of looking at a different situation since.
Yeah, we know that Bocage is a much different hardpoint map than pretty much any other hardpoint map in the game, and we will be going into Tuscan now, a map that across all the other modes, IBM is doing pretty dang well. So, if Microsoft is looking to avoid repeating the past, then this map is going to have to be something really important to them, Tug.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Tuscan so far. Well, we started out with our Bocage, went to a triple dose of Tuscan. Berlin will round us out to our map 5, but of course we got to get there first. Microsoft's got Red has got to take this map here to then go on down to a search and destroy game mode. They lost 6-0, unfortunately. Not saying they're out of it quite yet by any means. And obviously, we're going back to the hard point here that we saw Microsoft Red had a lot of prominence in. We're just going to have to see how this one works itself out. Which would you say has more of the advantage, right? Like the prominence on Hardpoint from Map 1 or this IBM squad that has done amazing things on Tuscan now 2 rounds in a row?
I would say, especially because of how they did in the control, that IBM has a little bit of an advantage. The hard point on Bocage was pretty dang close, obviously because Bocages are always close. But if we're gonna look at anything like it would be a respawn on this map, it would be control. So I think IBM is definitely coming in here with the advantage.
That edge, that edge. Monkey getting aggressive early, and
Oh,
that's
what?
not one but two, and catches him sleeping right there, kind of napping on point. But Red always there to find a couple multi kills.
Yeah, don't be sleeping on Straight Monkey, dude. He will mess you up, clearly. 14 seconds already on the board for Microsoft Red, but IBM seemed to have gotten a little bit of a wake-up call, a little bit of a kick in the seat of the pants by Straight Monkey. They're starting to make their way back in here, Tug, but with 20 seconds left, I would be a little bit more worried on trying to get to the next objective. Microsoft Red, they are doing that. They've only got idea on that objective and already going to next. Microsoft Red might just beat IBM there, despite the fact that they have the better spawns. They're literally spawning directly on it and still getting into it.
Wow, so it was like 10 seconds left on this first hard point. The IBM even got a single second or so. 25 or so going the way of Microsoft Red on the end here. Spawns coming in from both squads. Straight Monkey always up close and personal, but that's actually going to be a full 4-man wipe, and Red finds no target for the frag. Almost does, actually. Almost reads that spawn perfectly.
I'm amazed that Red was able to survive through all the stuff that he did, man. Oh, man, Straight Monkey, by the way. 2 solid kills, getting the time right back in their favor. But Red, literally, he got spotted and called out, killed a guy, and then as soon as the guy following him tried to kill him, he got picked off as well. So good stuff going on from Red. He's 6-6 right now. But him and Afro Ninja Sensei just might be able to pull something together really nice. Cicero up inside of the church, making some serious waves, and now Microsoft Red, they're forced off this objective, starting to get put up on next, but Poison in a prime position to contest a spawn as well as the objective.
Looking at the standouts right now, Afro Ninja, 8-4, 8-5 now dropping, 10-5 there for Straight Monkey. We saw them really do just kind of come up crazy initially, but this next rotation, this next hard point, going to be a lot farther away from both teams, and I think IBM just kind of coming at this a lot slower. Take out top broken first, not a bad way to start it, and Red finds a second.
Yeah, IBM not looking too slow right now, though, going in and instantly taking control over the objective. And it's actually not going to be Red or anyone on the IBM team that kills Idea. It's going to be one of his own teammates with a not-so-well-placed grenade. Unfortunate. Idea's still in a good position to keep them off the objective. Ooh, good stuff. You might have the spawns, IBM, but as long as Idea's in this spot, it's going to be really hard for you to capitalize.
It is hard to dislodge this player from it. As it is, Microsoft Red kind of takes the first real definitive, never mind. Just like that, Red doing Red things. Kevin trying to find one across the middle, and does eventually. Beaten feet to go on to this next hard point, next rotation on
Kevin,
in.
nice.
Kevin finding a couple on the way.
Does eventually get taken down, and Afro Ninja with just as nice of a streak on the way back. And IBM, they're starting to compound it into even more kills. The only one that's not really dead and in a decent position is is going to be Idea. His teammates are going to be finally getting up and in a good position for him. This is one of the hardest objectives to get a retake onto, though, Tug, especially with the trades going in the way of IBM, Microsoft Red. There are just so many corners that they have to check and that they can get reshelled from. This is not an objective that you don't want to get a rotation to.
You do not, and IBM has broken away with the biggest lead in this hardpoint so far. This is about where Microsoft Red was in the first hardpoint against IBM. And again, you've mentioned it. Bouquet is just a different beast entirely. Pistol in hand there for Kevin. Is everybody beating feet? Try and move on into the last hard point in this rotation.
Yeah, this is a hill that was historically not so easy to hold, but I've seen some teams do pretty good on it recently, ever since people finally figured out that you can shoot people in the middle of the map through the window, like Red is doing right now. And so that gives you a lot of mid-map control. Every single side can, in theory, be in the control of IBM. They can really just keep Microsoft nice and away from those positions that they can throw the grenades from, which is the historic issue for this objective. Not looking to be so much of that right now, as IBM is getting quite a significant amount of time, more uncontested on this hill than any other one so far, Tug.
Yeah, now a 25, 26, 28 point lead for the side of IBM, and that is in part thanks to much full team wipes. Llewellyn tries to get something going right here, but jumps in by themselves, by the lonesome, and gets a little bit damaged. Poison Red dropped shortly thereafter, partially thanks to Llewellyn's efforts, but Kevin from the top broken here. Is Microsoft Red, I think, is now just trying to look at a way to get some kind of cornering positions onto this next hard point. The second rotation starting now.
I mean, technically they did have a good P1, but this rotation is still much, much more favorable for IBM. They're going to be able to get on the objective first, but Microsoft Red getting a little bit of hegemony over the middle of the map is going to be meaning that IBM can only really shoot at them from the front of them, which allows Microsoft Red to focus a lot more forwards. But it's only going to do you so much when Red is just going to run right up and kill you like that. Straight Monkey able to get a solid frag back, but this is not what Microsoft Red needs, Tug. They need hill time, uncontested. Idea trying to get that for them now, though. But, man, this is going to be still difficult. They can still get a solid rotation, and next you see Straight Monkey spawning up there, and with 19 seconds left, and no real challenges coming out from IBM on the previous objective, you gotta start thinking about it.
There you go. Now IBM giving up the lead, giving up the situation to go push attention onto the second. Poison's there. Cicero will join them soon. Red takes this off to make sure that that lead doesn't go any farther than where it was. It wasn't like it was getting unmanageable by any means. And then Idea in the back, picking on Poison. Everybody spilling on in this bottom area. 50 seconds left on it. Whatever team holds on to these spawns over from our defender's side, I think really will be able to come out on top of this and start getting some rotations and just start talking about slaying at that point in our unlimited respawn hardpoint game mode.
Although, Tug, there is a little bit of an extra X factor for IBM right now. That is Red. He's almost at 30 kills, and we're only at the start of the second rotation. That's pretty stinking incredible. Everybody else, the next closest person in the lobby to him is Idea, and he's almost at 20.
Oh,
so,
wow, yeah,
Red, oh my god, look at that. Another kill. Idea is still, even Idea is afraid to try and go for the counter shot when he's weak like that, although it was smart of him to play like that. Knew that he was probably going to go for a contest. Shoot him one time, it's done. Well played. But either way, Red, I think he was very close to streaks. I don't think he quite got them, but if he continues in this streak like he is now, then not only will it be difficult for Microsoft Red to push anything because they'll all be dead, but he could also potentially amalgamate that into streaks.
Oh, this is a deadly setup right here for IBM. Cicero kind of left down the lurch a little bit when it comes to this top area right now, and Idea pushes that. Llewellyn takes down Poison on the way, but Red, Afro Ninja combining for a few right there, but that's the last really alive as Afro Ninja just get cut down with wall bangs through this back concrete. Kevin finding two, but can't quite keep it alive on the end. IBM's going to take advantage of this one and start setting up, but I don't think that this is going to last for very much longer because Microsoft Red will probably give this one up after this set of pushes. All four members there, 15 seconds left. Now that's the last back.
You would think that they would have given it up a little bit of time ago, but I feel like Microsoft Red, a little bit of criticism is they got a little bit tunnel visioned on that one. They fought very hard for those last 10 seconds, and IBM in the meantime, they made a great rotation. And as soon as Microsoft Red made that push, the spawns flipped. And again, this is a hill that you don't want to be getting a good rotation to, so IBM with a very strong outplay, and Red, he's in his paradise right now, Tug. This is a subs place that you want to be at. This is their stomping grounds, and I can only see him getting more kills.
Microsoft Red in the bag right now. Full team wipe. They came off the last hardpoint again. Maybe not the best the best decision or whatever. They only came out really with a 5-point advantage, but they've come in, and outside of the efforts of Afro Ninja Sensei, that has been an entire Microsoft Red W. 30 seconds left onto this one as Red trying to do Red things yet again. Bad COD timing, whips it around to the left side as he gets shots to the back. 18 seconds left on this one. And this is the biggest lead ratio-wise we've seen after the first, like, 50 points or so.
Yeah, just about that much. I think that IBM had about the same amount of a lead earlier, but yeah, it seems that despite all of Red's good work, having almost 40 kills, just him, look at Microsoft Red's kills. They're not spectacular, but they're all very close together. That means that they're taking a lot more fights together, and they're not depending on a single player like Red. A lot of Red's teammates, they're very close to even or negative. So Microsoft Red, they are taking a lot better fights as a team, and Red, he's doing a lot by himself, but he's eventually going to need some help.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's not something you can entirely boil down to numbers, right? Like, idea 26-17, doing good stuff, but, 21-30, 23-30, 22-22, but still keeping not just competitive, but the lead right now. 97-98 now as Microsoft Red touches that 200 barrier. Only a difference of 10 points, though, so this is still anybody's game, Kyle.
Yeah, and another great team fight from Microsoft Red being won. Great grenade and fire and just following up nicely. Red, oh my god, dude. Like, this should be stuff that's winning them the game. It's getting pretty dang close, Tug. Although I feel if anybody on the side of IBM decides to turn up like Red is right now, oh my god, there's another one, then this could be very scary for Microsoft Red. He's taking things more into his hands. He's getting really aggro. He's gonna fry Monkey in the face once again. Mid-map control, but Microsoft Red, they're going into the objective. Red into action once again. Unfortunately, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. IBM, the rest of the players did not do so well, and they're all on the respawn in a predictable position for Microsoft Red.
This is a Microsoft Red squad. They won by 15 points in the first hard point. Now they're ahead by about 15, but Red going on a tear again, finding kills like lint in the pocket down bottom. Llewellyn finds a low health Red at the end. Not gonna matter. Almost 50 kills in the hard point here. It is a very long one, as we've gotten multiple rotations on in. Idea up close. IBM on a little bit of a run, but even if they take all these points, it'll only be tied.
Huge from Kevin here. That is a great point that they'll be tied, and that's even more so important that Kevin gets this rotation. Oh, he gets another kill into the spawn. Afro Ninja Sensei generally knows where he's at. Kevin knowing that he's in a little bit of trouble here, getting stunned out. That's what really killed him there. And oh, coming around the back is going to be straight Monkey. Afro Ninja Sensei, it's getting dicey on this objective, Tug. But you know who they need to come and save the day again? It's going to be Red. He's coming up through the middle of the map. He gets killed on the first time of asking, unfortunately for him. And so it's straight Monkey and Microsoft Red with control over the objective for the time being. Afro Ninja able to get a solid kill in the middle of the map, but he gets taken right back down now as well. Red finally getting brought back down to earth by Llewellyn, and it's 7 seconds necessary to win this. You gotta go in now if you're poisoned, just getting some contest time. But he instantly goes right back down. No follow-up coming out from IBM, and so that will be Microsoft Red still pulling it out in the hard point.
There we go. 250-235 was the first hard point, and now Microsoft Red striking back. This is IBM that has now dropped 2 maps in the postseason. Here in the grand finals now, they dropped 1 in the regular season. That tells you anything about just how much, how closely, evenly divided this is. Almost 50 kills, right? Almost 50 kills there for Red.
50. Wow, that's crazy, man. I haven't seen something like that in a little bit. Just one player doing so exponentially well. And so, what I think is, despite the fact that they lost that, they're going into this next map probably feeling pretty good, especially Red. Berlin is a map where it's pretty favorable to both ARs and subs, depending on the sites. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I would be very surprised if they didn't stick Red up an A or underneath the stairs or something like that, and just see if they push him and if he can just get all those kills again. So, Red, a very impactful player there. Cicero, and I think they had another really strong AR, Afro Sensei, on the outside of the map. I think it's going to be a very potentially strong map for them if they can, get their setups right because they have all the good puzzle pieces to put together a very nice looking Berlin.
Yeah, it's just about really putting those together at this point. What exactly is it that this IBM squad found within themselves, or whatever else, gameplay wise? What was it exactly that they allowed them to go on? Not not just a W, right, but a 6-0, the goose egg put up by Microsoft Red, and the times of the control coming in with there afterwards, right? The 3-0 there for IBM. That seems like a thing of the past after Microsoft Red really has put a very dominant foot forward on one of these game modes, and that's a type of momentum that we like to say would be brought into the search and destroy. But yet again, if there's momentum on one side, a team taking a previous round and getting so close to victory they can almost taste it, but the other squad has done crazy things. Again, just completely one-sided 6-0. Obviously, numerically, you don't get better than that, right? IBM did next to nothing wrong in the search and destroy earlier. That was a different map as well. They'll have to recreate that here if they want that 3-2 victory. Guaranteed to have a 3-2 in one way or another, though. We are tied all the way up and basically a one and done at this point.
Yeah, and just a little bit of a flashback to the last search and destroy. A couple of things that put IBM over the top is the fact that they not only positioned themselves well, but they got intel and then they acted up on it. And
Mhm.
from what I could tell, Microsoft was not able to glean as much intel off of IBM as IBM was able to get off of them. And so they were able to always position themselves well accordingly. They were always able to be like, yo, Cicero, you got like three people barreling down the hall at you. He's like, I got it. And then he just shoots all of them down at once. The good
Easy.
thing about Microsoft is that they have been fighting together, but the one bad thing about that is if you position yourselves in a position where you can all die at once, then it's very possible that you will die together instead of just winning together.
This is true. This is true. Gotta perform together, gotta live together, gotta die together, maybe. I don't know. That sounds dramatic as all get out, right?
Right.
IBM on the on the Tuscan search, or excuse me, on the Tuscan search and destroy, yeah. It was all about positioning and stuff, and there's similar situations you can find yourself in Berlin, right? You were kind of talking about like that bottom A area and stuff like this. There's these are we're not going to see any new positions here, right? It's just about getting there and then playing that position as best as you can. Uh, yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
so I think that we're about to be getting into this Berlin pretty soon. But before we do that, just want to give a quick shout out and a reminder to everybody for what's going on here and why we're doing this. This is the Corporate Esports Association for players who are interested in esports, part of big companies to come in and do their stuff. We're sponsored by Red Bull, so go ahead and give them some love. My real name is Kyle, and so I'm a big fan of some energy drinks, and so I can definitely tell you, in my experience, that you should go ahead and give them some attention. Red Bull, famously one of the good
Absolutely.
energy drinks, and the prize is going to be going to charity. If Microsoft wins, the prize majority of the prize will be donated to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. If IBM does, then the majority of the price will go to the ALS Association. And on that note, Tug, we're going to be getting in here with the grand finale on Berlin.
Absolutely. Absolutely. $1,200 going on into first to the charity of their choice. Again, $600 going into second. So essentially like a $600 match going on right here in just a second between these two. Once again, like you said, that was Microsoft with St. Jude's, IBM with ALS, IBM ALS. A lot of letters in there, right?
Yep. And so Microsoft going to be starting off on the attack. I'm curious to see if IBM has brought any snipers. I was right that Cicero and Afro Ninja Sensei probably going to be getting delegated over here, but unfortunately, IBM not getting the intel like they were the last time, and instead Microsoft Red is going to be able to waltz onto the site with ease and get a free plant.
Hmm. Free plant. Free plant. Like they're living next to a really nice gardener or something. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, they
Red
got the
poison.
Microsoft Botanical Gardens.
There you go. Is that an actual place?
I don't know.
It sounds good. It sounds good.
Oh,
You
it
could have
does.
said yes and I'd have bought it. 3-1
Okay.
situation for Kevin. They found themselves in this situation earlier. Nobody so far has gotten to do a 3-1 comeback though. Kevin getting a little bit, trying to send some shots into this wall. Cicero finds nothing, and that's our first defuse within the search and destroy. Is that correct?
That is correct. I don't think we've seen anybody get a defused because if you remember, the only team that was getting the plants in general was IBM, and they didn't
Yeah.
drop a single round, so they literally could not have. They literally could not have. And so now, IBM getting the first defuse of the game. It was looking a little bit dicey. I was a little bit shocked based on how they were playing earlier that Microsoft Red was able to get in there so sneakily. But they were able to catch them on the way out, and Microsoft once again played together and died together. And it was a very quick retake from Microsoft despite Kevin's best efforts.
Yeah, I think that Microsoft Red's biggest search and destroy woes comes from this, and that's that individuals pop off at completely different times for Microsoft Red, right? That was Straight Monkey that was just doing crazy stuff on Control. Luell and Idea both popping off individually within the hard points and whatnot. Obviously, those game modes that they won, and now Kevin going on a 2 streak.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
man.
can't get it done on top. Poison just takes a lot off the top right there. Llewellyn, good positioning, takes it to left window, middle window. He's got everybody staring on the barrel right now, and Red and teammate, that's going to be Poison, I believe, getting everything going right there.
Oh, man. Idea gonna be blowing his cover. Unfortunately, gets left stranded by the IBM players once again. It's looking better for Microsoft Red, but they're still missing a couple of things in order to get them the W. One of the major things is, in that round in particular, was I don't want to say it just came down to gunfights because there was a lot more things in that round, but Kevin, he lost a very, very pivotal fight. He got first shot onto, I think it was Cicero or Poison chilling on top of the tank,
Poison,
and they were still
yeah.
able to take him down. And then after that, they could easily push, I think it was Llewellyn on the site, no problem, and so he pretty much had no help after that, and it just allowed IBM to get great control over the map with that one kill.
I can't agree more, Kyle. Can't agree more. Is that like just those intricate details just so frequently going down and deciding these search and destroy rounds? As it is, though, Microsoft Red solid foot forward until Kevin does get dropped. But the plant does come in, so timer is on. Offense here for Microsoft Red at the advantage.
Oh, I like this.
For one of the first times we can say in the search and destroy. Takes out the corner man, that anchor position, that AR, and Stray Monkey finds a second. This is Red, the last alive. Now, this is a heavy hitter for the IBM squad, but this is a 3-1 with bomb planted in 20 seconds.
Yeah, even if you do kill all the players like normal, it's still gonna be difficult for Red. He's really up against the clock. He's coming in and trying to do some damage, but Straight Monkey's in there with him. Red, he's gonna get surrounded and pounded now, unfortunately for him. So Microsoft Red, first win in the search and destroy of either map up against IBM. One thing that was a little bit concerning for me, Tug, is they still lost a player on the way out. So that's something that IBM has been doing a pretty good job of, is killing a player on the way out and the transition back to site control. But they lost a lot less players this time, and I think that's a major reason why Microsoft Red was able to win that.
I can definitely agree.
As well as the flank, obviously.
Yeah, the flank was huge. Berlin, kind of an elongated map too, right? Like for example, you don't really spend a whole lot of time over an IBM spawn, over in this attack inside spawn that often. But positioning. We said it earlier, feel vindicated now. A lot of back and forth, but no lives dropped so far. Straight Monkey gets gifted one. Red trying to find something on the backside, does find it. Straight Monkey actually didn't get any damage there, so that was a completely earned kill. As Llewellyn tries to send some after the last few pixels, this IBM player.
Yeah, and then he instantly pulls back out, realizing that he's probably getting lured into a trap from IBM. He's got no teammates, they probably do. And so he just pulls it right on back. 45 seconds left, they're going to see what they do. I love this call from Microsoft Red. They still got Kevin, making sure if they do get a push over to B, he will see it. And so the subs are trying to play a little bit more of the close quarters over at A. I do like this. It makes them a little bit split up from each other, but they're still in great positions where they can easily pull away just playing intel. I like this a lot.
Yeah, and this is a much more slowed down type situation that we saw at any point in the search and destroy earlier. Cicero from top area, Llewellyn on the other side. First shot kind of gives away the positioning and gives away the drop down as well, as bomb plant does come in. Llewellyn mailing some shots. Afro Ninja's got to have his number.
Yeah, hitting it with a quick return to sender with that mail bow idea with a solid kill. He's going to be flipping the map onto Red. Red, he's been historically very good with the sub fights. There's 25 seconds left, though, so Idea can come at this from a multitude of angles. He's going to pick the one that is actually really good, that Red is not totally aware of. Red, he's going to be... Oh my god, Idea, I think he has an inkling of where he's at, and he gets some good clutch up from Idea. It's an even game now, Tug. As long as he doesn't accidentally let go of the defuse button, this is going to be a round for Microsoft Red.
Fantastic stuff. 3.5 seconds left is IBM going to be dropping another round right here. Microsoft Red, again, not being too negative. We can't be now because this is tied up in the search and destroy. They just didn't find any sort of success. They didn't find any sort of success earlier on. That was a different map though. That was Tuscan. Got a triple dose of it towards the middle here, but we're on Berlin, and this seems like a different story. And really anybody's game here. Once again, basically a $600 game has $1,200 going on into first, and $600 going on into second, with Microsoft Red supporting the St. Jude's Foundation, the Children's Hospital. IBM working with the ALS Foundation. That is the Lou Gehrig disease, Research Disease Foundation.
Yep, and IBM for the ALS Foundation. Trying to get some fights down on B, but once again, Microsoft Red able to get some good ground. Unfortunately, Straight Monkey is going to get caught in his flank crazy mid-push attempt this time, but Microsoft Red is able to get out without a single death on the retreat. The only problem, though, is that Red is able to run up the middle of the map and might be able to get some solid back frags onto Kevin, and now your position is no longer as tenable for Microsoft Red.
It really isn't. Red doubling up here, 6 and 3. Llewellyn trying to play both sides, doesn't really make a decision. The decision is made for him. Plenty of time to get the defuse. And that's just in general, this map has gone down to far more like strategic play on the search and destroy, not just the pretty much pure team deathmatch with no respawns that we saw on the Tuscan search and destroy earlier. Again, the very last round is the only one last time that we even saw a plant, and now we've gotten multiple plants and a couple defuses. So I am with it, Kyle. We're not even in round 7 yet.
Yeah, and speaking of the strategies, we've seen only hits over on B. I'm thinking with how good of a search and destroy team IBM is, they're probably thinking, Microsoft Red, we've been hitting B a lot. Maybe we can go to A without too much resistance. So it looks like that's exactly what they're going to try and do. See if they can poke and prod over A, keep control over the middle of the map. But this does put them in a difficult position. But when you're Red, you're never in a difficult position, especially in the 1v1. So that's a huge fight over at B. Hedging their bets was obviously a good idea for IBM.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that entirely. 3-2 situation. Poison paid for it on the way out, but Cicero just puts that butt in the corner again, and that's going to be money. There has not been a 1v3-1 yet, correct? Or within the search and destroy, I should say.
I think you are correct about that. Just a little bit of dissection. Another reason why I think IBM did that is because they were only going in for B. Microsoft Red went instantly in for a flank the last time, and that made their position not able to be held anymore. And yeah, they were. That was the major reason why they lost the last attack, is because they had no presence in the bottom of the map to stop the flank. And as I'm saying this, Idea trying to stop the attack right here, right now. He's got Red to go up against. Probably not going to be able to get the ninja defuse now. Not even going to be able to get the defuse now. Yep. And so he's just seeing if anybody wants a little bit of a piece of him and getting an extra kill.
Not even going to happen on the end. Shots ending it out with the Pistola, the rat attack coming in for IBM, as IBM pushes this one round away from match point, map point, tournament point, $600 point, everything you want to call it. Is that 9 and 3? Is that what I read?
I think you are correct in reading that, Tug. Your eyes do not deceive you. That is a 9 and a 3 right next to each other for Red. I mean, we knew he was good, but wow.
Yeah. Search and destroy prominence showing its head yet again for the Red player over here on IBM. What, 3 more kills gets that here. Triples up against Microsoft Red in this 7th round now. That'll be streaks actually being looked at on Berlin for the side of Red. Let's get there first, though.
Straight Monkey going straight for the flank once again. I kind of like this. IBM, they realize they haven't had a whole lot in the middle of the map. They're trying to get control over it now. They've got Cicero on the crossfire, but they realized that there was a window where someone could have gotten through. Straight Monkey. Unfortunate timing again. Kaido always gets you like that, and he will be getting caught in the flank once again. This time, though, it's not going to be a free plant. IBM knows that they're in there, so they're going to try and catch him on the way out once again. But there is no way out for Llewellyn. He's just staying on the objective. Flank coming down from Red, and it's going to be devastating once again. Yeah,
this is just flank city out here for IBM. I think they've just realized the amount of time that they have to play with before this really does come down and get like really untenable, like you were saying earlier. Frag in the middle. Okay, if this is like a solo player left, that'd have been money all day long, but Afro Ninja coming on in with the defuse. Red did drop in the previous, so that is that's going to be great for Microsoft Red. What's not great for them, Kyle, is a 5-2 scoreline, requiring now 4 rounds back-to-back. That's offense into defense, not being able to drop even a single round.
Yeah, being on the precipice of defeat is never a fun thing, Tug, but I mean, I have seen crazier things happen. Microsoft Red, they've had some great moments in this, and they've looked a lot better, obviously, not just in the scoreline, but in their gameplay in total from their previous time. And so I think that if they can take a lot of the good, like their lane control, into this next round, then not get picked off by Red inside of this building, I think you basically got to give that up to him at this point. He can be looking pretty good. Ooh, might be able to get him. He got stuck on the wall, but still unable to secure the kill. But what they do manage to find, Tug, is Cicero. That's finally a first blood for Microsoft Red.
Mm, Kevin was literally like coming back with health almost to 100 on this one. So a fantastic job for Red to have read this one all the way out. As it is, Red cannot finish this search and destroy with a negative KD either. So that's an interesting scoreline,
Yeah, fun
right?
fact, and he won't be doing that either. He might be getting a 3 KD or better with the, just killing idea there. A little bit of dis push from each other is going to be Microsoft Red. Straight Monkey with a good flank. He puts Luone in a much better situation, but he's getting shot to pieces. 30 HP. He's gonna have to run clean away from that. Now it's probably gonna trying to come up through the middle of the map, which is the one sector that IBM is not holding just yet. They think he's still showing a little bit back there. They're watching their flank in the train station. They're starting to suspect the flank, and they
Ah,
do manage to find it just a little bit too wise. So that is going to be IBM, and they will be taking the series.
yes, they will. 6-2 score line. The search and destroy. It all came down to this, Kyle. It all came down to this. And who else but Red, right? Llewellyn has done some fantastic things across these games. Unfortunately, finishing this one out 2-7. If I had to like boil it down to like one small mistake, you had another like 38 seconds, 35 seconds or so. Maybe play this like a little bit slower. Might have been looking for like a ninja, but at the same time, it's like it's assuming that these two players are just gonna be like, okay, well, we're gonna put bomb down and just go screw off in a corner or something like that, right? Or just like go get something else done. There's no reason to believe that at least one of these players wouldn't have been on there. So I guess I'm just kind of like wondering what the game plan was there. But it all comes down to more methodical pushes, right? Heard him running down, aim down, walk out, 4 or 5 to the chest, and that's going to be it here for the Microsoft Red Squad. Congratulations, IBM! $1,200 going on into the ALS Foundation. That is again the foundation that does research on Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yes, indeed. Congratulations to the ALS Society Association as well as IBM for the victory today. Good shouts to Microsoft. They put in a little bit of a good performance there, especially in the hard points, but the search and destroys were really killer for IBM at the end of the day. And so it looks like not only in well, at least in COD, they will be the superior computer manufacturer. But yeah, Tug, that's about all I have to say about that. One final thank you to Red Bull for being our gracious sponsors for this event. And Tug, anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, no, just big congrats once again. That's $1,200 going on in here for the ALS Foundation. 600 still going on into St. Jude's, so a lot of money is still going to very good good causes and whatnot, right? Big shout out to Red Bull sponsor there. If you enjoyed what you heard, Twitter ats down there, Kamaka as well. CEA over there on Discord. Simple as possible. Discord.gg/CEA. You can check out what we're doing on Twitter as well at Corporate Esport. Thank you guys for watching. That's going to be it here from FBI Tugboat and Kamaka. We'll see you guys later.